Alright, so our test is the CAAP-2, or the Clinical Assessment of Articulation and Phonology. So this test assesses articulation and phonology in children. It's a time-efficient, accurate, and it yields results that are easy to score and interpret. The checklist approach to assessing phonological processes virtually eliminates the need for phonetic transcription. The CAAP-2 is designed so that children will enjoy its administration, and it also helps you to qualify students for therapy with word standard scores, sentence standard scores, and phonology standard scores.
So the test has two forms that you'll fill out. The ages range from 2 years and 6 months to 11 years and 11 months, so almost till 12. And then the authors are Wayne Secord and Joanne Donahue in the year of 2014. And so a little more about the test is that it does, again, record articulation, inventory, and phonological processes through checklist 1 and 2. And then the articulation inventory is divided into two sections that are composed of consonant inventory and then school-age sentences, which are each administered. And then the consonant inventory has 3 levels of word difficulty, from consonant singletons to cluster words to multisyllabic words. And there are 3 levels as described, and they increase in difficulty from consonant singletons, then to cluster words, and then to multisyllabic words. For young children, 2 years and 6 months to 4 years of age, it takes about 15 minutes to administer the test.
Alright, so the CAAP-2 articulation inventory targets pre- and post-vocalic consonant singletons, cluster words containing S, R, and L in the initial position, 3- and 4-syllable words, post-vocalic productions of R. The phonological process checklist assesses final consonant deletion, cluster reduction, syllable reduction, gliding, vocalization, fronting, both velar and palatal, deaffrication, stopping, pre-vocalic voicing, and post-vocalic devoicing. And also, the CAAP-2 can assess non-developmental phonological processes. There are reproducible checklists for backing, initial consonant deletion, stridency deletion, and consonant harmony in the appendices of the manual. And these inventories don't have normative data, but they can identify active processes greater than 40%. They needed to renorm the assessment to reflect current U.S. Census data. They extended the age limits of the CAAP to 11 years, 11 months. They discontinued the use of the error difference score, and they included children with speech delays and differences in the sample. And they also updated the stimulus picture computer. It also runs new validity and reliability studies, and they also created an iPad app that can automatically generate the scores for the test.
Okay, so administering the test. As said before, you have subtests. First, you have the articulation portion, which has the consonant inventory story, which is optional. If you have younger kids, it might engage them and doesn't have any interest in the story. You can move on to the consonant inventory instead. And then in the consonant inventory, there is a part where you will stop, or if the child is 5 years and older, you'll continue the consonant inventory, so it's a little longer. And then for school-age children, you'll be working with school-age sentences, giving them that test section. And then phonological processes, checklist 1 and 2, after getting your articulation scores, we'll then use that to analyze processing patterns seen and apply them to checklist 1, whether you think the child demonstrated those processes, and then if they did, then you'll mark that down. And then for checklist 2, you'll actually administer the phonological processes section, where you can see the child's phonological processes pattern and identify if they have any phonological processes. Who can administer CAAP-2 are speech-language pathologists, speech-language assistants, or student trainees working under appropriate supervision. So basically, as long as someone is trained with phonetic description or in phonetics, they are able to then administer the exam.
Alright, so the components of the are the black carry bag, as you can see in the photo, the consonant inventory with school-age sentences, and the phonological processes checklists 1 and 2. And it also comes with several toys, as you can see in the photo. They're called the CAAP-2 pals, and they come with an introductory story. And this part of the test is optional, but it can be really helpful for working with young children who might be apprehensive about taking the test. And you can also use the toys to obtain a language sample following testing. And if you are testing an older child, so someone greater than 5 years old, you might want to skip the introductory story altogether, administering the CAAP-2 with or without the introductory story.
So scoring. The articulation section of scoring is going to include the consonant inventory and school-age sentences. The phonological processes section is going to pertain to checklist 1 and 2. The consonant inventory for articulation, you're going to sum all the errors of the consonant singletons, cluster words, and multisyllabic words, and enter those totals into the boxes on the page 3. And those scores are summed to make up your consonant inventory score. For school-age sentences, the total number of errors on each sentence is summed and then entered into the sentence score box on page 4. And so the total raw score is entered into the box on page 1, reserved for school-age sentences. Phonological Processes Checklist 1 is used to analyze the child's processing patterns based on their articulation inventory response. Checklist 2 will require an active assessment of the child's phonological processes pattern, and the examiner administers and scores the child's sounds as they occur. The examiner, while doing the response the child gives, is demonstrating processing pattern listed or not. And the CAAP-2 provides 3 standard scores altogether to qualify children. The articulation section has word and sentence standard scores, and the phonology section gives an overall standard score. You can convert all standard scores to percentile ranks and age equivalents. So the population size for CAAP-2 is the sample, which was included 1,486 children across the U.S. and resembles the 2013 U.S. Census data.
Right. And since we couldn't be here in person to do the demonstration, we found a video showing how to administer the test.
The CAAP-2 includes an optional story with toys that the clinician could administer to help the kids get comfortable before the assessment.
This is Elba, and this is her friend Mac. Elba is the happiest elephant in the jungle because she and Mac are best friends.
After the story, begin the articulation portion of the test with the Consonant Inventory tab.
What is this?
Bed.
What are these?
I don't know.
What are these?
Tea.
If the picture fails to elicit the correct response, the clinician can use the prompt listed on the back of the easel. Once the clinician reaches plate 44, if the child is less than 5 years old, stop this part of the test. If he is older, continue. And there are directions for continuing with or without the optional story. Continue to the School Age Sentences tab.
Say all the words I say. The mouse works on math at the chalkboard.
The mouse works at math at the chalkboard.
Say all the words I say. The parrot paints the animal statue at the art table.
The parrot paints the statue.
Remember, say all the words I say. The parrot paints the animal statue at the art table.
The parrot paints the animal statue at the art table.
If the child did not say all of the words, the clinician will prompt in that way. Once the school-age sentences are complete, the clinician can score the articulation inventory with checklist 1 of the phonological process checklists. Or the clinician can administer checklist 2, in which the child's responses are analyzed for phonological processes in real time.
What is this?
Seal.
What is this?
Jar.
What is this?
School.
And what is this?
Computer.
Next, we will discuss recording responses and scoring. For the articulation inventory, to score the consonant inventory section, you will record initial and final consonants. You'll use a check for a correct response, a dash for an omitted sound, an X mark for a phonetic distortion, and a phonetic symbol for any substituted sound. For scoring, you will sum all the errors in each section and then sum all to obtain the consonant inventory score. For the school-age sentences, you will make a slash through any deleted syllable and then use the same check, minus, X mark, or phonetic symbol for targeted phonemes. For scoring, you will sum all errors in the sentences. Convert these raw scores to standard scores, percentile ranks, and age equivalents by looking in the manual in Chapter 6. For phonological processes section of the test, for checklist 1, the examiner will make a yes/no decision on if the child's response matches a criterion. For example, is the final consonant deleted? On checklist 1, you'll analyze the child's responses from this consonant inventory. On checklist 2, instead, you will record responses to phonological process probes and determine yes or no. For scoring, you will add the yes responses and then calculate the percentage of occurrence, and then decide if the process is considered active, meaning present more than 40% of the time. You'll add these responses to get a phonological processes score, and then you will use the score to determine standard score, confidence interval, percentile rank, and age equivalent using the norms table in the manual.
Okay, that's all for today, so thanks for watching.